Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wednesday, June 17th, 2020 meeting of the Lebanon Utility Service Board. Let the record reflect that all board members are in attendance, less Dan Lamar, and that the meeting was properly advertised. There was a short working session prior to the meeting at which no formal decisions were made. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first item on the agenda tonight is the approval of the minutes from the June 3rd, 2020 meeting. This is an action item. Everyone had a chance to review the minutes, and if so, any questions on those minutes? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for June 3rd.
Second that motion.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Jim to approve the minutes from the June 3rd, 2020 meeting. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. Next item tonight is Lebanon Standards Update, BF&S Supplemental Agreement Number 1. It is an action item, and our General Manager, Ed Baskell, is going to address the board. Hey, Ed.
Thank you, board members. It's great to be meeting in person again. The purpose for the BF&S agreement, supplemental action agreement update, is because of the cost overrun. It was initially supposed to cost $9,750, and it cost $19,550. And working very closely with John Leitner, Butler, Fairman, and Seaford, the standards update is a typical project they do for a community, and it usually takes 3 to 6 months for them to complete. But this hadn't been done for a very long time in Lebanon, and with coordination issues with various parties, with it having not been done in such a long period of time, it took about 2 years. So it seems very reasonable to us that with something that normally takes 6 months and it took 2 years and a lot more meetings and a lot more coordination, that we think it's a valid charge, and we think we've got a good value out of it. So I'd like to request the board approve this motion.
Okay, thanks, Ed. So this is an increase in cost due to an increase in time on the on this project.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
How much, what was the increase? 9 what?
It looks like 9,800. So almost double. To 19,550.
But it's 4 times as much time, so
Right,
I think we've got a value. So.
Any questions for Ed, or any further questions on this before we?
So this will be paid from the contractual services other accounts and the electric, water, and wastewater department budgets, and there's ample funds there to do that.
I believe so. I'll double check later, but yes.
Thanks.
All right, anything else before we entertain motions? All right, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the $9,800 increase to BF&S.
I'd second that motion.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Jim to approve the compensation increase for revisions to this BF&S agreement for the Lebanon standards by an amount of $9,800 for a total of $19,550. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, Ed. Next item on the agenda is an action item. It's the power factor capacitor banks, and our electric department manager, Jeff Greeno, will address the board and explain how we can gain some efficiencies from some additional capacitor banks. Hey, Jeff.
Good afternoon, everyone. The electric department would like to purchase specified capacitor banks and controllers to help Lebanon Utilities with our reactive power charges. To give you a little background on this, we had a power factor study done by ISC, which is the engineering group for AMPA, back late last year, early this year. And upon completion of their study, they recommended that we put certain size capacitor banks in strategic locations to help decrease our reactive power charges that occur on a monthly basis during high peak load months. I believe that these capacitor banks should help us lower our reactive charges over a period of time, which according to the data sheet will take 2 years, maybe a little more. So I would like to request the board approve the purchase of the capacitor banks and controllers as specified in the quote provided by Annixter for the not to exceed amount of $33,260.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Just for the record, these capacitor banks and controllers are basically devices that are attached to what, Jeff? What's the proper
We will
term?
install them on the electric poles.
Okay.
And hook them to the electric lines.
And these will detect and reduce waste and actually resulting in dollar savings to the utilities from the power we purchase.
Yes, they will have controllers on them that will detect when they need to turn on and off
Okay.
due to demand of the
Okay.
power on the line.
And like you mentioned earlier, there's already been a study that we had done.
Correct.
And that was paid for. So the $33,260, in addition to the study money, we still have, what, nearly about a 3-year break even there, Aaron, on that?
Here's by my calculation, which
Okay.
is 3.
Okay, so sounds like it is a payback and it makes sense to move with something like this. Anybody have any more questions for Jeff before we entertain a motion? All right, thanks, Jeff. I would entertain a motion for the power capacitor banks.
I'd move to approve the purchase of the capacitor banks and controllers as specified in the quote provided by Annixter for the not-to-exceed amount of $33,260.
A second?
Motion made by Jim, seconded by Bill, to approve the purchase of capacitor banks and controllers from Annixter for a not-to-exceed amount of $33,260. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you, Jeff, for that explanation.
Thank you, Jeff.
Good evening.
Next item on the agenda is an action item as well. It's one that our water department manager, Ryan Ottinger, will be asking us for regarding the water tower maintenance. And it's a simple request for a table. Is that right, Ryan?
Yeah, we, based on conversations that we had at the last board meeting, and Jeff, Jacob and I, our conversation, we decided to have BF&S just draw up a request for price and go through that process, just based on some concerns that I think multiple people had. So I think that what's best would be to table this item for now, and Jeff can speak on.
Yeah, so as we got into, there were a couple, as you recall, there were a couple of open contract items that, that in conjunction with the board's concerns, we're kind of reworking our contract a little bit, and I don't want to say starting from scratch, but Ryan went ahead and put together an RFP so we weren't shoehorning that in, and so I think it's had, at least Suez is interested again, and so we'll bring that back to the board at some point in the future.
Okay.
And the RFP was classified ad in the local paper on
It was ran in,
June the 13th.
yes, in the Indianapolis paper and since Lebanon's doesn't come out every day, we went ahead and did the Indianapolis papers and the Lebanon paper just to be on the safe side on that.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. So I would entertain a motion to remove the water tower maintenance item from the agenda.
I make a motion, we remove the water tower maintenance until a later date.
Second?
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Aaron to remove the water tower maintenance item from the current agenda. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Ryan. Next item is approval of the claims. Looks like the claim total is $2,568,018.25. Everyone had a chance to review those claims? I'd entertain a motion to approve those.
I move to approve the claims dated June 17th, 2020, for the amount of $2,568,018.25. Excuse me.
Second.
Motion made by Jim, seconded by Bill to approve the claims dated June 17th, 2020, for a total of $2,568,018.25. Any other questions or discussion on the claims? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Next item is other business that may come before the board. Ed, do you have anything tonight?
I don't have anything tonight, no, thank you.
Any public comment, or Ed, have we received any questions from the public on our many channels? I know the last couple of meetings we've had remotely, and want to make sure we check in.
I don't have anything on email, or I'm checking our live feed right now. This week.
All right, doesn't sound like we do.
Nope, we don't have anybody watching. It looks like we just have one person on chat, so.
Okay.
It might be me.
Okay.
All right, well, it looks like our next meeting is scheduled for July 8th, 2020. We will plan to have it in person again unless something changes before then. Nice to be back in front of people here, and everybody's social distancing and wearing our masks. So if there's nothing else for the good of the order, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Jim to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we stand adjourned. Thanks, everyone.